Welcome, Rangers fans, to our midweek coaches show. And as we do each week, or have done each week throughout the fall, we'll look back at our last Friday's football game, talk about that for a little bit, and then we've got so many sports in full swing. Coach Miller will give us an update on what all's going on throughout the rest of our athletic department, and then we'll come back and preview this week's quarterfinal game at the end of the show. So let's step back a week. Of course, our most of our student body was out on Thanksgiving break, but the Ranger football team was not. We were practicing all week, including Thanksgiving Day. And then the day after Thanksgiving, we had a 1 o'clock kickoff against Fulshear, team in the Lamar Consolidated Katy area, in a big third-round playoff game. We met them over at Seguin, and we were able to prevail and win and move to the fourth round. And a hard-fought game. The weather was threatened to be terrible, but the rain held off. It was just kind of dreary and overcast, but we made enough plays to win against a quality opponent. And let's start what did we do to thwart their offense? Coach Westerfer, they've been averaging close to 50 points a game.
Yeah, they've been averaging 50 points a game, really explosive. And I thought our kids did a really nice job of executing the game plan. And, game plan going in every week is to reduce and eliminate explosives. And we held them to 3.
Right.
One of those was a 12-yard run, which, barely qualifies as an explosive play.
Right.
So I was really proud of our kids and the way they tackled, and really David DeHoyos had a great game, 22 tackles. He stopped a lot of those from being explosive plays.
He's a good player, as we've come to know. 22 tackles. I think he had a sack, a couple of tackles for losses.
Yes, sir.
Carried the ball 7 times for us on offense, got some big first downs. So, we're trying to get him bus driving certified this week, see if he can drive us to the game, and that way he can do everything for us. But
the other thing I thought we did really well was got 3 takeaways.
Yes.
Our assistant coaches did a great job studying film. We noticed some things with the wide receiver's feet. Taught it to our kids. They recognized it. Duffy got a good pick there early in the game, interception. Off of some adjustments that we had made off of them.
Right.
And then Nick Dudzikowski, man, he's just been getting around the ball all year, but here lately, he had 2 strip tackles and things we work on in practice. Really nice seeing them showing up in the game.
No doubt. And I thought we frustrated them a bit. They pretty much had their way with everybody, even the games that were tight. They were able to move the football, particularly on the ground, and then get the big play action throw up the field. But we had some big sacks. Had some guys pressure the quarterback.
Our D-line, I thought, played really well. Their O-line is very solid, really good, well coached. But I thought our D-line was able to wear on them as the game went on, kept their gap integrity, again, which helped eliminate the explosive plays and the things that they had been counting on.
Right.
We were able to take away from them a little bit.
Well, and then, of course, offensively, we started out hot. I think scored, of course, 21 points in the first half. Had some big plays early, and then hit a little bit of a lull, and then had a surge there late in the second half when we needed to. And Coach Hill, their defense was as good as advertised.
They were absolutely as good as advertised, and came out in a little bit of a different front than we had seen them do. Credit to them for adjusting their game plan, and that took us a minute or two to kind of settle in and get adjusted to that. But I think what we did best was we just hit big early. Like you mentioned, we got up 21-0, had some explosive plays. Our defense limited them to 3. I think we doubled them up and had 6 explosives with how we charted them. Cole Freund got in on the action, second, third play of the game, maybe went 30 and scored. Freshman Quentin Sampson had an explosive catch and run for a touchdown, and then TJ Hunt again. I think he went about 60 on a catch and run for a touchdown. So, getting that early lead was huge. And then when it starts kind of getting down to the wire at the end of the game, we were able to piece together some first downs and a couple of touchdowns to put it away.
Yeah, that's kind of how it goes in these type of games. You rarely just get to have your way with them defensively or offensively, and we got 3 takeaways. We turned the ball over once, so we're +2 on turnovers. We doubled them up on explosive plays, our explosives versus theirs. And then I thought our kicking game was very solid. We had some good solid returns, particularly off their kickoff and punts. Our punter did a tremendous job. Clay Amaya punted them back to the 1-yard line a time or two, and our kickoff coverage was outstanding. So, just doing the little things that don't show up in the stat sheet all the time, but do show up and help you get into the win column. So moving on from the third round, and now we're moving on to the fourth round. There's 8 teams left in the state, so now we're to what they call the state quarterfinal round, and of course we've got College Station this week, and we'll talk a little bit about that matchup and where it's at and what about them. And but first we want to go ahead and look around the rest of our athletic program. We've got soccer kicking off practice this week. Of course, basketball, wrestling, swimming, a lot of those things are in full swing, and so got a lot going on. So as always, we'll bring in our assistant athletic coordinator, Melissa Miller, and she'll give us a rundown on the previous week and what lies ahead in Ranger Athletics. Coach Miller, take it away.
Thanks, Coach, and a huge congrats to you guys for that huge win over Fulshear. Can't wait to watch you guys this weekend. Speaking of some wins, let's get into girls basketball. Our girls basketball team is currently 9-5. Last weekend they finished 4-1 in the Southwest tournament. Coach Sutherland wants to give a huge shout out to sophomore Mia Perez, who was named to the all-tournament team. Our girls team's having a ton of success this preseason. They've got one more tournament this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They play in the Canyon and New Braunfels tournament, so if you get a chance to go out there and watch them, they'll be out there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That pretty much wraps up their preseason. Coming back, they start with Kerrville-Tybee next week, which is a district opponent, so they'll head out to Tybee next week. Again, really great preseason for them. They're looking forward to a new district. Moving down to 5A gives them some opportunities. So they're a lot of fun to watch. Great team, hardworking team. If you get a chance to come see them, they'd really appreciate it. Moving into boys basketball, our boys basketball team, Coach Thornton set up quite the preseason. They have had 4 preseason games against very, very tough ranked opponents. So not playing, as he says it, well enough to win right now, but they're doing a lot of great things. So getting them ready for a good tournament schedule, a good district season. Huge shout out to Ethan Ortiz. He is our leading point scorer right now with 16 points per game. And the next time you can catch our boys team, they kick off their tournament season this weekend, Thursday through Saturday. They are heading up to Georgetown for the Jack Frost tournament. So coming back, they've got a couple more preseason games, and then they'll get into district here pretty quick. Our wrestling team competed in the Churchill Charger Classic last weekend. And some of the boys that Coach Clarkson wants to give a shout out to are Efren Arez-Mendez, Carson Dyke, and Tristan Luna. And then the girls that are really doing a great job include Alex Green and Lucy Patoric. This weekend is our huge Ranger Roundup. So this Friday and Saturday, wrestling will host quite a few teams here. JV will compete on Friday, varsity and girls will compete on Saturday. Here at Smithson Valley, they're gonna take up both gyms. If you're bored on Friday, wanna come watch them, you get an opportunity Saturday to come on out. It's a lot of fun. Those kids work really hard. So good luck to them in our Ranger Roundup this weekend. Swim. The weekend before Thanksgiving, we talked about how they were heading to Corpus Christi. There was 19 schools in that meet. The girls placed first overall and the boys placed second overall. Not just that, but out of the 24 events in that meet, Smithson Valley was able to bring home 18 first place finishes. So great job by Coach Fritcher, Coach Hilliard, and our entire swim team. They are cruising along. Next time you can find them is this Friday and Saturday at the Northeast ISD TISCA Championship. That's gonna be at the Bill Walker Pool and the Josh Davis Natatorium. So again, lots of stuff going on this weekend, opportunities to watch girls basketball, boys basketball, wrestling, and swim. We also want to give a huge shout out this past Monday. Both of our soccer teams started their season. They've both got scrimmages coming up starting December 10th, so we'll have some more information on them next week. But just good luck to everybody. Good luck to girls basketball, boys basketball in their tournaments, wrestling in the Ranger Roundup, swim as they head into any ISD competition this weekend, and definitely a huge good luck to our football team as they take on College Station on Saturday. Back to you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach Miller, and good luck to our teams as they continue to move forward in their seasons. And speaking of moving forward in the seasons, we mentioned earlier the quarterfinal round. December football, cooler weather, cold in some cases, not cooler. Big ball games, obviously, and none bigger than this week. We've got the College Station Cougars, I believe they are, in what is the quarterfinal round, and the games move now to Saturday. We will have a Saturday game at 2 o'clock in Pflugerville at the Field, as they call their stadium. And we're taking on College Station, who has a proud playoff tradition in their history, of course. Won a state championship, played in the state championship game a year ago, lost in overtime, very close game, of course. I've got a number of good players back from that team. So apparently in the quarterfinal round, as we've come to find out, I guess 8 to 10 times in our school's history, you don't get to play anybody that's not pretty darn good. So, Coach Westford, let's talk about their offense first. We've got to try to defend a group that's, as many of them are, piling up a lot of points. So, what do they have, and what do we got to do here?
They're really just overall really solid. The quarterback's a dual threat guy that can run the ball, he can throw it. They got a sophomore tailback who's filling in for a kid who got injured earlier in the year, but he's really good. He's got a really bright future, and it's already going this year. And then their O-line, they got 3 starters back from last year. They're well coached. They don't have blown assignments. They don't mess things up. They just do a good job of really they base everything off the run, but they can throw the ball well as well. We'll have to have a good, solid, all-around game plan. Very fast tempoed. They're going to try and snap the ball a whole bunch of times and get you on your heels. And our kids will have to do a good job of getting lined up, being ready, and being ready to play.
Well, and as you said, they're very balanced, and so to be able to focus on one thing is not something we're going to be able to do, and so we're going to have to play well. And of course, speaking of playing well, we'll obviously have to play well against what looks to be a great College Station defense. Coach Hill, what about them, and what about us?
Yeah, they've got, you mentioned several guys who started and played in the state championship game last year, so they've got a championship pedigree. They've got guys that are battle tested. So they're not going to blink in this game, and we just got to do what we do. We're not going to change anything up. Game 14 of the season. So let's just see if we can't go get it on and try to get some points up on the board.
Well, they got a couple of big, good defensive tackles, some linebackers that making life tough, few D1 type guys in their secondary, and the type of talent level and type of performance level that you would expect to see in this round. And unfortunately, that's what we're up against. So, I think the key to the game is going to be what it usually is. We're just going to have to try to make enough plays, to win the war, win enough battles to win the war. To think you can go in there and overwhelm, anyone, that's probably not realistic. But promises to be a great afternoon for football. 2 o'clock at the field in Pflugerville, Texas, and will be also broadcast on the Rangers Network. So one way or the other, we hope you'll support the Rangers. And there's only 8 left, and it's December football. It's exciting. Christmas music and playing on the radio, and Ranger football. I can't imagine what else would go together any better than those things. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.